Today I'm unboxing a kit I was lucky enough to win, and it's a big one. The ICM B26B in 1/48 scale. G'day modelers, I'm Dan, a modeler from Australia, and welcome to my model bench. Now a few months ago, probably 7 months if I'm honest, I was lucky enough to win this incredible model kit in a giveaway over on Gary Stuff, which is another YouTube modelling channel you may have heard of, and if you haven't, you need to check him out. He had an interview with Valeria, ICM's Managing Director. I'll include a link for the actual interview in the description for this video. And at the end of the interview, she generously offered to donate 2 kits to viewers. Now Gary randomly picked 2 winners, and I was lucky enough to be one of them. At the time I just retired and was about to start a whole... This is ICM's B26B in 1/48 scale. It's a brand new tooling that came out in 2024, and already ICM's released this in several variants. The one we're going to look at today is a special one because it includes extra parts in the form of the United States Army Air Force pilots and ground personnel in the box. This box also includes quite a striking looking natural metal finish that you can see included on the box art. So let's take a closer look. The box art itself is fantastic, showcasing the aircraft in its natural metal finish. On the side of the box you can see the same aircraft profiled along with the 5 included crew figures, which are going to be perfect for diorama builders. Being an ICM kit, the packaging is really solid. It took a bit of a beating coming over from Ukraine, but thankfully everything inside arrived in perfect condition. ICM really knows how to package the kits well. So inside the outer sleeve you get a sturdy white box which doubles as a great parts container while you do the build. Maybe there's a lesson there for other manufacturers. Along with the kit, Valeria was very kind to give me a signed letter congratulating me on winning. Thank you so much for that. And she also included a ICM product catalogue, which I've been really enjoying reading in the evening when I have my coffee. And as a bonus, she also gave me 2 paint sets of ICM paints. Now, full disclosure, I've actually owned some ICM paints already, and I'm a big fan of them. They're actually really good acrylic paints, and they're very reasonably priced. So the 2 boxes I got with the kit was a World War II US aviation colours, which has many of the colours you would use obviously on the B26, and also a sample pack which includes some very common colours and some not so common ones, so you get a really good taste for what their paints are like. Okay, first impressions. Well, there's a lot of plastic in this box, but let's start with the instructions. The instruction booklet is a mix of full colour and 2 colour layouts. It includes a brief history of the aircraft on the front, along with a paint guide which references the ICM's own paint range. Next we have the actual sprue layout with parts not used in this particular variant marked out in red. All in all, there's 126 build steps, which is a lot, but they are laid out in such a way that they're logical and they aren't overwhelming. Now if you're someone that likes to do construction where you're doing multiple steps at one time, you'll probably like the way this book's been laid out, because it should be easy to do your build that way. One detail I did appreciate is there is a template for masking canopies, and also a whole page dedicated to where those masks should be applied. There are 3 marking options included in the kit, 2 in natural metal finish and 1 in the early war dark green and grey scheme. The bold nose art you see on the cover of the box is included as one of the marking options, but just be aware that you're going to have to do a bit of clever masking if you decide to use that option, because not all the yellow for the nose art is actually included on the decal sheet. The decals themselves though are really sharp, they're in register, and I think they should work really well. Taking a look now at the plastic parts, the surface detail is crisp with finely engraved panel lines, and those panel lines go around the whole width of things like the fuselage, for example, without fading away, as happens with some other kit manufacturers. ICM's made a decision not to include any rivet detail on the actual kit, and while some modelers may find that disappointing, I do completely understand why ICM's made that decision, because for some reason rivets on kits can be a highly contentious issue for some modelers. So basically if you're going to miss the rivet detail, you'll need to add it yourself, but in 1/48 scale that shouldn't be too much of a problem. The engines are nicely detailed and they should look good straight out of the box, but of course you can always go ahead and add more detail if you wish. There's scope to do that. The fuselage interior is also really well detailed with all the crew stations represented, and there's also a bomb rack with the actual ordnance included in the kit. The kit includes crystal clear canopy and window parts with some really nice sharp framing, which should make applying your mast easy to do. Now, one thing to note is this kit will be a tail setter unless you add some ballast to the kit. Now, that is noted in the instructions, but you'll have to include your own weights for doing so. As far as extras go, ICM's not a big fan of those, so there are no resin or photo etch parts in the kit. And that's okay, I'm fine with that, except for one thing. There's no seat belts, and I understand why ICM may not want to include those extras, through resin or through a photo etch. But I have to wonder, why couldn't they at least include some optional seats that have moulded seat belts in them? That would be fine with me. We could just pick out the details with paint, and in this scale I think they work really well. Unfortunately, they just give you plain seats with no parachute harnesses and no seat belts or anything else. So unfortunately, you're going to have to make your own or find a third party. One innovation that is included as part of all the ICM releases these days is that they include a digital build video on their website. I really like these. Basically, they've taken the CAD drawings for the kit and they've animated them and made them into this fantastic resource where you actually can watch the assembly of the kit. This is really useful for some parts where you may be a little uncertain about where things go or what sequence you should assemble things in. So I already took advantage of this when doing some of the interior detail for this kit. I think it's just a great feature, and I really commend ICM for coming up with it. It's a sensible, practical way to update the instructions for the kit in the 21st century. Obviously, with a kit that has this much detail and includes the figures, there is huge diorama potential. The figures themselves, by the way, are really nicely moulded. They're quite sharp, and in the hands of a good modeler, they should look fantastic when painted, and in the hands of me as a mediocre modeler, they should look okay. Really, this kit begs to have some kind of a diorama built around it, and as you can probably guess, I'm going to do that, so you can look forward to that in some future videos. So all in all, this is a very impressive kit. The level of detail, the thoughtful packaging, useful extras like the masking template and the digital build video really do help to set it apart. The lack of the seat belts is a minor downside, but overall this is a really impressive kit. Now, full disclosure, I've actually already started on the build of this kit, so you can look forward to seeing a complete build series where I'm going to take you through the construction of it and also building a diorama to go with it as well. So what's your thoughts? Do you like the natural metal scheme that these came in, or would you prefer the more classic green and grey colour scheme? And what's been your experience with ICM kits? Have you built something like the B26? How'd you find it? I'd be interested if you have to give me some feedback if there's anything I should look out for. But whatever the case, I want to once again extend my thanks to ICM and to Valeria for this kit. I'm really excited to build it. I think it's going to end up being a really fine model once we're done. And if you'd like to follow along with the build, don't forget to, like and subscribe and click on the notifications. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.